Hi everyone, can you see me straining the paints out because this paint is pretty old and I've mixed with other colors, so that is why I use a strainer to strain it out. Now this is how I wouldn't usually start my video, but I did because I do not want to show you a really long process of how to prep a canvas. You can see it at my other videos, and so I show you at a really cool spot, which is using a strainer to strain with your old paints so they can reuse it again. Now, hi everyone, my name is Sarah and I'm a fluid figurative artist. And today the topic would be a seahorse. Now, I know that there are a lot of artists who did seahorse and they're all very beautiful. However, I want to create something that is how should I put it, who that has my signature in it. So I'm just going to try to do a swipe on a seahorse with my own type of color and style, and we'll see how it goes from here. Now, as you can see, this paint is really old. That is why there are a lot of air bubbles trapped inside it, and therefore you have to really touch them well to pop all the air bubbles out. Now, since the background is a bit grayish, bluish, so the whole theme is supposed to be a purple theme, I start off with the dark purple, which is a royal purple, and here I have prism violet. So I'm just going to go on top of it, same lines, and yeah, I think I poured a little too much, but it's okay. Here I have a metallic blue by Arteza. It's a really nice, bright mint blue color. So yeah, I think I poured a bit too much paint, but it's okay. We'll see where it goes from here. Now I'm slowly manipulating the flow of the paints to form it into a face of a seahorse. And whenever the shape does not hold, I'll actually add more paints, the background paints, to sort of push the paints into the shape that I want them to go. As we all know that the base for the seahorse, which is the dark purple, is actually a transparent paint, and therefore it is very liquidy. And because of that, when you make it really runny, like, it will not stay in shape very well. So that's another tip. If you want to make sure that the paint sticks well, your paints must not be that runny, especially for a transparent paint. Okay, I'm not sure whether should I voice over the whole entire video, but I think once in a while I should do it. Last time I would just put a music there so they can listen while you watch the process, because I'm very bad at explaining, or so I think. But this time I thought I would explain a little bit because the technique for today is a little bit different. It's a mixture of a pour as well as a wet on wet, which is a watercolor based technique, which I'll show you later. So here I'm just doing the simple swipe for the seahorse that everybody does. Of course, people use kitchen towel, but I've decided to use a palette knife because I think it's way easier than using a kitchen towel. But you can use anything. You can either use the kitchen towel, a plastic, a flat plastic, or a palette knife, whichever works for you. So here I'm torching it. And yeah, I'm going to restructure the shape again. Oh, by the way, if you're new to my channel, and you'd love to watch more of my stuff, I've got really cool stuff. The most famous pour of mine is the Phoenix pour, which you can see at the really beginning of one of my videos. I did a Phoenix pour, and yeah, I think that's something a lot of people like, so you can view it if you want to. But yeah, if you don't know me yet, I'm actually a fluid figurative artist. So what I do is I pour acrylic pours or do fluid arts and form them into figurative art. So it's a whole another level of painting. And my works are done without any touch up or brushes. So that makes it more interesting and challenging at the same time. So welcome to my channel. I hope you guys give me a like, and please subscribe to my channel if you think this stuff are cool for you. Anyway, coming back to my seahorse, here I am playing around, and now I'm using a kitchen towel, which I've, basically tore into smaller pieces, and I'm just experimenting. Now I don't expect this to turn like really beautiful or anything. The whole purpose of this pour is actually just to experiment with different types of techniques and to see what I can get out of it. For my first seahorse pour, which I will show you to you soon or upload to you soon, I actually did this thing where I spray water so that I can get these roots effects, as you can see on top of the hair on the left side. Like all these sprouting effects are actually really cool to me, because I mean, it's so natural, when all these kind of shapes form when it's wet. And I think that it's really cool to capture these essence into paintings. One thing good about it that if you've done it right, it's beautiful. But if you've done it not right, then it'll be a mess. So this is just an experiment piece, as I said, and therefore I don't mind, experimenting and putting on as much water or taking away stuff as well, just to play around and to see what works and what does not really work for acrylic pour painting. Here you can see me touching up the face again and again. This is what happens when my paints are too watery, and I should have make it thicker. Next time I'll know better because my paints are usually very runny compared to most other artists pour. So yeah, this time it's just too ready. Anyway, here I am touching all the cells because there are a lot of tiny cell bubbles trapped everywhere, and hopefully by doing so will also kind of fix the shape of the seahorse. Now here you can see all the tiny cells popping out from the surface. That's because I added the mica blue paint, and that causes all these tiny cells to form out, popping out from the transparent paints. Now I deliberately want this to happen because I want my seahorse to have a lot of tiny cell bubbles to form like the shape, the texture of the body. And that is why I don't mind all these tiny cells, and that is why I've created in a way that the body will have a lot of tiny cells. But if you don't like it, then I suggest you to either add pouring medium to your paints or make sure that your paints are less runny. And please don't shake it so vigorously if you don't want to have a lot of cells, like those tiny cells, because that will cause a lot of air trap into the paints as well. So here I sprayed more water. You can't really see, but it's actually very liquidy. Like there are a lot of water on the canvas right now, especially at the tip of the head. So yeah, I hope that it will form a shape of its own and form something really cool. I mean, that's my hope, because we never know what we're going to get with, wet technique. Now here I like the shape of the seahorse face, but we never know because it kept running out of shape. So here I don't really like the body part, and that's why I'm going to blow a little bit to make the shape more refined. And as you can see, I'm touching up the face area again because the face kept running out of shape, and it's a bummer. So here I'm using the torch to actually hopefully fix the paint so that it won't move that much. As I said, the paint is really runny. So okay, here I am making sure that it stays that way. And here I am adding more water to create all these root effects at the edge of a seahorse. Now, I'm not sure if you have seen any seahorses real life, but I did, and they actually have a lot of like tiny roots coming up from their backs or coming up from the bones of their spines, and I think it's really cool. And that is why I wanted to have that kind of effects. Just that one thing downside about this is that if adding too much water, like the effects don't really, stretch far. So yeah, I'm just gonna experiment anyway to see if adding more water would actually, make the roots grow further and more noticeable. than before. So if you see the bottom part of the seahorse, which is the part I'm touching right now, the water, yeah, there's a bit too much water, so it doesn't really spread out like roots. In fact, it started to accumulate and gather puddles here and there, which I don't really like. And that's why I'm using a torch to actually separate them to see if they can form better shapes or not. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm making any sense to anyone, but it makes sense to me. So, I mean, I'm the artist, so yeah, that's what I had in my mind. I'm still not done yet. I still have to fix the tail of the seahorse, but for now, I kind of think it's cool. Yeah, so here I am trying to do the tail, and I was being very gentle because I want the tail to be more refined, but it didn't work because of the transparent paint, and that is why I poured the background paint into this small tiny little bottle, which can get anywhere. For us, we get it at our medical, pharmacies, because it's a bottle for kids to take their medicine, which is so cool. But I kept it, so yes, reusable. And here I am making the tails a bit spiky, because if you look up close at a seahorse, you'll see that they have a lot of body parts. But I thought it doesn't look cool at all, and so I decided to take it away and yeah, make it just nice and flat again. But as I said, this is an experimental piece, so yeah, just feel free to play with it. Okay, this is the last blow and I'm done. Now, can you see the effects made by the spray? I think it's pretty cool, but I wouldn't know until the whole thing dries. To see the final version, the dry version, you can always check out my Instagrams, sarahso_art, and look at the dry version because I think it's outstanding. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!